Welcome to Into the Night. I'm Nari, your guide on today's excursion down a twisted path. Be careful not to get lost. Be it dark or light, it's easy to lose your way. Are you ready? Then let's begin. Losing Ground, Part 2. Emotions ran high, and at this moment, Edith was glad her husband was the president of the Homeowners Association. Melvin had always had a cool head when times were stressful, and he had a calming nature. The people in this neighborhood needed a steady hand like Melvin's. He motioned for everyone to calm down.
I've been thinking a lot about how to approach this problem. For some of us, it's going to require getting us out of our comfort zones. I know none of us is the kind who likes to make a fuss, but making a fuss may be the only way to get us out of this predicament.
The crowd quieted. Bridget raised her hand. Melvin gave her a nod.
What can we do? I know I'm willing to do whatever it takes to save our home. That's the spirit, Bridget. I have a plan. We're going to break into committees.
Melvin paused.
I don't like that word. Let's call them teams instead, okay? Each team will work on a different aspect of this problem. I want to be on the team that attends city council meetings.
I used to go to these kinds of things when I was younger, Lorraine volunteered.
I'm not afraid to start a ruckus if I have to. I'd like to be on the team that deals directly with the developer. That Lex Monroe has no clue who he's dealing with now.
Sam Ringwald had arrived late to the meeting, but he didn't want to be left out of the planning.
Very good, Melvin said. We need someone who can deal with the press.
A hand shot up out of the crowd.
I will,
a voice said. Everyone turned to look at Miss Ida. She blushed.
Are you sure, Ida? Why, yes. Most of you are a lot younger than I am, but in my younger days, I was a staff writer for the Herald.
Looks of surprise went around the room.
Miss Ida, you never cease to amaze us. Yes, you can be in charge of press relations.
The rest of the evening was filled with each team devising a game plan for stopping the corruption that would destroy their homes. At 10 p.m., Melvin garnered everyone's attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are off to a solid start. We can be proud of how we are rallying together to solve this threat. None of us wants to move. We have been neighbors for years and we've developed close friendships and ties with one another. We just have to stay diligent and focused. Let's meet again at the same time on Friday so each team can report what it's found out and if they made any headway. Thank you and good night.
The sleepy association members said their goodbyes and goodnights and made their way out of the Hamiltons' home. Melvin shut the door after the last guest left and turned to his wife.
Well, dear, how do you think it went?
Edith glowed.
It went splendidly, Mel. You did an outstanding job. I think everyone feels a little more hopeful than they did before tonight.
She gave her relieved husband a kiss.
Now, let's go to bed. It's been a busy night, and we aren't used to all this excitement.
Melvin and Edith soon slept peacefully next to each other. On the following Friday, their guests arrived with gusto. Each team was eager to report. Jerry Matson was present at the meeting this time and assigned himself to be the association's liaison to Mayor Wilson. Before the meeting even began, he addressed the people gathered in Melvin and Edith's living room.
That coot messed with the wrong people. I will use all of my influence, every trick up my sleeve, to stop his corrupt plan to steal our homes.
The set in Jerry's jaw made it clear to everyone that he was the perfect choice to deal with the mayor directly. Melvin stood and faced the members.
I'm calling this meeting to order. Team leaders will be given their reports, then we will develop a plan of action from there.
Lorraine O'Reilly stood.
I'll go first. I attended the city council meeting Tuesday night.
A few gasps escaped the lips of those seated around the room. Eyes grew wide, and people nudged each other as they leaned forward to hear what Lorraine had to say.
Yes, I was at the council meeting. I must tell you, it was bad. While the council didn't vote on the development yet, it wasn't because they have any hesitation to bulldoze over the top of us. They plan on Lexman Rowe building his business park. The only reason it was tabled until the next meeting was because the bank hadn't processed all the paperwork yet.
Tension filled the air.
We must act quickly. All the council members cared about was the revenue that business park will bring the city. They're probably all getting kickbacks of some kind. I know for a fact that a few of them, like Mitchell Carlisle, are knee-deep in the construction business. They were practically salivating.
Did anyone say anything about us? Cal Levinson asked.
Sadly, no one ever mentions what would happen to us. Who cares about a bunch of old people in their homes? This is prime real estate. It was a closed meeting, so I was lucky to hear what they were saying. But believe me, I wanted to speak up.
No one doubted that. Lorraine was a fiery redhead who made her feelings clear on any given topic.
Eminent domain is terrible. The government shouldn't be able to just take over our neighborhood or anyone else's in the name of progress. When I was a little girl, our neighbor's farm was split right in two because the state wanted to put in an overpass. We all complained, but we couldn't stop it.
Ida dabbed a tear from her eye with a tissue, and Edith, who sat next to her, patted her back.
It's an ugly thing, Ida. You're right. This isn't going to be easy, but we must find a way to save our neighborhood,
Lorraine reassured her.
Did anyone say anything about you being there? No, I made sure I was as inconspicuous as possible. I didn't need to derail their conversation. I wanted to hear what they were up to.
Melvin nodded.
Very good, Lorraine. Sam, you're next. What did you find out about the developer?
Sam rose.
Plenty. That's what I found out about Lexman Rowe. Plenty.
Sam had a gleam in his eye. He also had everyone's attention.
First of all, I know for a fact this guy is a snake. I staked out his house, and some really seedy people came in and out of there. I decided to dig into his financial and tax records, and I'd rather not talk about my methods. That's a part of my past I really don't want to get into. Fair enough, Sam. What did you find out from what you saw?
Melvin got the meeting back on track.
I found out Lexman Rowe has bought off nearly every elected official in the city. He's into more than real estate. Basically any swindle you can think of, he's into. But he has a weakness.
Eyes widened around the room.
For all his tough guy act, the guy's a wimp. I watched him. He's afraid of his own shadow. I'm going to pay Mr. Monroe some visits. Get him to maybe rethink what's in his best interest when it comes to destroying our homes.
Sam looked at his friends and neighbors.
That's one part of my past I don't mind revisiting.
Sam's words raised eyebrows amongst his friends, but they also broke into smiles.
I'm all for that, Sam. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Be careful, but what are they going to do if they catch you? Put you in jail?
Everyone laughed at James Pinkerton's remarks. The thought of the elderly Sam being put in jail for strong-arming anyone was laughable.
I'm on it. Old Monroe has more to deal with than what he bargained for.
Next, it was Jerry Matson's turn to speak.
I can assure you that Mayor Wilson, the sniveling piece of trash that he is, will regret his crooked ways. He doesn't realize that I can listen in on every phone call he makes. I think if we all take careful notes, and the teams share what we've learned, we can become a force to be reckoned with.
I like the sound of that, Ruth Levinson chimed in, and all of her neighbors were in agreement.
Now for you, Miss Ida. What have you accomplished with the press?
Melvin smiled at the sweet woman sitting next to his wife. Her eyes sparkled.
A whole lot. I went by my old stomping grounds at the Herald and dropped some anonymous tidbits in the ear of their feistiest reporter. If what I saw on Thursday is any indication, the city council and the mayor will be sorry they ever messed with us. That young man was on the phone doing research before I even left the building.
Did you go to any other news outlets? Lorraine asked.
No, but that's because I thought young Ryan Falk at the Herald would be a little more enthusiastic if he thought he had an exclusive scoop. And he was. Don't worry. Once his story comes out about the backdoor deals and the plan to take over our neighborhood for personal gain, all the other news outlets will be running stories. We have these creeps on the run. They just don't know it yet.
Ida was practically giddy with delight. Melvin addressed the crowd.
I think we are well on our way to implementing our plans. Let's meet again every Friday to update the members. I'm so proud of the gumption and fine work you are all doing.
That night, the community members stood a little straighter and had a little more bounce in their step than they had for years. Each week, the team met to give updates and progress was made. Lorraine kept the city council on its toes. Jerry kept tabs on the mayor. Ida leaked tidbits of dirty laundry to the press. And Sam worked his tough guy magic with Lex Monroe. Soon the evildoers in city government and the likes of the sleazy developers were mere shells of who they had been. Their world of corruption crumbled around them. None of them had any idea that a determined group of old people were behind the mayhem. Why, the Homeowners Association practically felt like a bunch of superheroes. Before long, law enforcement launched criminal investigations and indictments were handed down against all of the no-goods. The last thing on their minds at that point was taking over a neighborhood for financial gain. The mayor, the council members, and Monroe were too busy trying to beat others in turning state's evidence against one another. On this Friday evening, the members met once again in Melvin and Edith's living room. Refreshments were served, and a party atmosphere was afloat. Melvin looked at his friends, and joy radiated from him.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it is safe to say that we have done it. We've done the impossible and saved our homes.
Cheers broke out.
We may be old, and most don't give us a second thought, but we've proven we still have value, and we still have the gumption to do what's right. It's almost tempting to turn our attention to other wrongs we see in society. My Ruth is a great seamstress,
Cal interjected.
I bet she could make capes for all of us.
Laughter pealed around the room.
I bet she could. I think we should keep that in mind.
Melvin raised his glass.
Tonight is a night of celebration. Here's to the Green Lawn Cemetery residents. We have saved our homes.
Glasses tinkled, and the glasses of fine liquor weren't the only spirits raised at Green Lawn.
It's never too late to fight for what is right.
With that, Melvin and his companions quietly faded into the moonlit night. That is, until the next time their newly found powers could be used for good. Thank you for joining me for Into the Night, an anthology series written by Caroline Giammanco, narration and sound design by Nari Kwak, theme music by Nico Rodriguez. All original music and editing in part provided by Flyboy Entertainment. You can find our links in the show notes. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you enjoy what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review to help other excursionists to join us. You can find us on your favorite podcast directory. See you next time. And remember, whether in the shadows or in the daylight, all twisted paths take you into the night. Into the Night is a Creative Typo Entertainment production.